What's up, sons? It's Blind Ride with Son of a Tech once again. And right after this ad, we have a very interesting interview with Nick Hansen, the CEO of Luxor, which runs a bunch of mining pools, most notably as of recent, an Ethereum mining pool that is being utilized by Hut 8, one of the largest GPU miners in the West. I hope you enjoy. Don't forget to check out the affiliate links for the sponsor in the description. PrimeXBT is an established trading platform that was founded in 2018. Through February 8th, there are no fees for buying crypto with a card. PrimeXBT offers a unique trading experience with their co-vesting module that allows you to follow successful traders. Their latest feature is co-vesting yield accounts that offers up to 14% APY using DeFi and CeFi integration. PrimeXBT is available on desktop as well as their new iOS app. Remember, any form of investing comes with significant risks, so do your own research. A quick disclaimer, when using leverage trading, it comes with extremely high risks, including loss of all funds. Use promo code SONOFATECH at sign-up for up to $7,000 in bonuses. Welcome, everybody. Today I have Nick Hansen, the CEO of Luxor, with me. We're going to be discussing the new Ethereum mining pool from Luxor, along with, of course, the relationship Luxor has with Hut 8, along with some of the information going into proof of work and proof of stake for Ethereum near the end of this. So welcome, Nick. Thanks for being here with me today.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
So first of all, when we went over the article on my morning live stream pertaining to Luxor launching an Ethereum mining pool, in my chat, and I've gotten plenty of emails as well, and on Twitter, I've been notified that there are users that are not getting payouts from the Luxor mining pool, specifically the Ethereum one. Do you have any information on that you could help guide us?
Yeah, certainly. So I was actually went and checked some of the comments. Some of them were, so I saw a couple comments about Ethereum and a couple about Pirate. So so Pirate actually is quite a tricky chain to run. Their wallet is not optimized for sending that many transactions. So we have to run this wallet maintenance. And a lot of times, if we're running the maintenance during the time that somebody's getting paid out, that payout fails, gets stuck in pending. We have a process that's supposed to automatically go through and revert those. Sometimes they can't figure out if the payment was made or not, and then that requires manual intervention. So that is what's happening with Pirate Chain. But for the Ethereum chain, pretty simple. We had Ethereum somewhat underneath what we call a feature flag. So people that had an account on the beta site and saw the Ethereum pool come available, we didn't have any. We had all payments disabled for Ethereum. And so basically, what that meant was if you had an account prior to using mining Bitcoin or something like that prior to the ETH pool launch, your wallet was locked and you were continuing to accrue balance. We just had to go through and unlock them. So as of right now, I don't think anybody's stuck pending. If they are, go ahead and you can reach out to me on Twitter or find us in Telegram or Discord. Usually we're pretty responsive. Some folks were saying that we weren't responding. If that's the case, I do apologize for that. Happy to answer you on Twitter DMs or anything like that, and we can get you sorted out. Another thing that can happen is a lot of folks forget to put in a payment address, which obviously we can't pay you then. Your balance just continues to accrue. So if we don't have a payment address, then we can't get you paid out.
Okay.
Anyway, that should address most, like 99% of the issues. And then, I mean, if there's anything else, again, just hit us up on our support channels.
And what's your Twitter for support?
Oh, it's at @bender, #_bender.
Okay. And that's going to be the primary outlet for support, or is it going to be the Discord channel? Which is the primary support?
So Discord's going to get you the fastest response because we have a team of 40 people now. Somebody's going to be in there taking a look. Telegram be second best. You can get to me on Twitter. My DMs are a little bit of a dumpster fire, so sometimes they do get dropped. But I do my best to keep up with folks that are asking pertinent questions and asking questions related to the Luxor service and product. So one of those will get you answered. Most likely, Discord's the best bet.
Perfect. So for Pirate Chain, essentially, there is still potential to get paid out. It's just going to need to be manually run by pool op, essentially. And
Yeah.
then for the Ethereum side, if you were mining prior to the official launch, is what I'm understanding.
Yeah,
On the
correct.
beta, that's kind of a loss at that
Oh no,
point.
no,
Or
you'll
can
still get,
you?
yeah, you'll still get paid. You're going to get paid. It's just
Okay.
the wallet was locked. Meaning, if you had an address and everything configured, your balance just continued to accrue. It just didn't hit your get paid out to your wallet. But you're definitely not going to get lost. We're not going to steal your
Okay.
coins.
Got it. Okay. So
So
they can reach out to support, and that'll be a manual process as well.
that should already be taken care of. We've unlocked all the
Okay.
wallets.
Got it.
We've
Okay.
unlocked all the wallets.
So everybody having issues with Luxor pools, go ahead and double check and then let us know in the comments if you continue, and definitely reach out to their support. And we're going to move on to the fun topic. So recently you
Cool.
guys, yeah, go ahead.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. So recently Luxor partnered with Hut 8, which is, I mean, to my knowledge, one of the biggest Western GPU mining companies currently out. Can you give
Yeah.
us a little bit of an, like, I guess, a brief overview of that partnership and what that aims to do?
Yeah, so we've worked with Hut 8 for a long time. We specifically started building the Ethereum pool as a, to kind of help them out and wanted to partner with them really closely on that. They've used the Bitcoin mining pool. We've partnered with them on other pools and really excited to work with Hut 8. We've known Jamie and Jason and the whole team over there for a long time and really love what they're trying to do. Really just kind of reimagining energy to Sats or energy to crypto. They've been a strong supporter of proof of work for a long time. They're also really interested in the Catalyst service, which allows them to stack Sats with their Ethereum hash rate. So yeah, they've been a great partner to us. Been really excited to work with them, and they've been super helpful along the way as as we got this thing up and off the ground.
Cool. One of the things I had seen them on, I think it was like MSNBC or something, and they had been talking a little bit about the merge. I think they were questioned
Okay.
about, of course, Ethereum moving to proof of stake, which is the biggest topic, I think, for this year, especially
Yeah.
2022, as it gets closer. Best estimates are earliest of June, June of 2022.
Yeah.
And one of they had made a little bit of a mistake they said they could go mine something else. Specifically, they said Matic, which, if you're aware, that's going to be a layer 2 solution. That's not
Right.
really traditionally a proof of work mineable project. So there was a little bit of, I guess, probably a
Yep.
mistake as far as that goes. But it really leads into the question of, like, because it doesn't feel well thought out enough. If you're looking at the
Right.
networks as they sit right now, the what are your thoughts and opinions on the ability for the current hash power on Ethereum to move over to other proof of work coins?
Yeah, that's a great question. So obviously, ETH provides a lot of liquidity, meaning it's a high market cap, lots of volume on the exchanges, so it can support that much hash rate. But let's look at, let's take one step back on the ETH2 migration. They just put out their great renaming piece, which I
Right.
think to me indicates some I feel like they're getting, they're laying the groundwork now to maybe make that consensus change get pushed out a bit, which we'll see. I mean, June 2022 seems very, very close considering the hiccups that we've had, and I don't know. I'm uncertain if it happens in 22. That said, if it does, I think there are plenty of other places for these GPUs to go. A long time the story has been that GPU mining is actually going to be the second most profitable thing you can do with GPUs. The main would be doing high value workloads like AI, rendering, modeling, etc. And so maybe that starts to accelerate here if we do see a true path to the merge. Otherwise, there's plenty of other chains that we could go mine. We're going to work really closely with our partners. We've got Hive and Hut 8 on the pool now, and mining a lot of Ethereum, but we're going to work with them really closely to see where they want that hash rate to land, because most likely it'll end up, most likely they won't be ready to get those like AI and ML and rendering workloads ready to go just yet. So most likely end up going with something like we've tossed around the idea of maybe going to Raven, maybe do something like E Classic. There's a bunch of different places it could go. Really, what you'd be looking for is a combination of liquidity and liquidation avenues. So something like Grin, probably not a great fit because of the not having great places to liquidate. But it'll really come down to being a game time decision. Also, there's the optimization that you make for the type of hardware that we have. You could, if you're team green, team red, that may make a bit of that may tip the scales in the direction of one coin or another.
Right. One of the interesting points you brought up was the profitability of like proof of work mining with GPUs,
Right.
or the first one being AI, etc. I don't know if you're familiar with the Flux project, but they are working on something called proof of useful work, which would almost integrate the
Right.
top two together, a little bit of AI processing along with that. So
Right.
that's one that I'm keeping an eye on. I still question whether or not there's really enough liquidity in any other coin or all the other
Right.
proof of work coins combined to compete with Ethereum, because it looks a little scary from the
Yeah, I think
perspective
they'll
of a
all
GPU
be
miner.
pretty thin. Flux was previously Zcash, right? Is that the one?
Correct. Yeah, and they
Okay.
have the Zelcore wallet.
Right. Yep.
Yep.
So back to your liquidity point. Yeah. Yeah. That is, that's probably the biggest concern would be where does this, where does this hash rate land, and is there going to be enough liquidity for it right now? And as of right now, I think it's got to be Raven just due to the market cap. But we'll see that, or maybe Ethereum Classic. But Ethereum Classic just doesn't have a lot of market depth on a lot of volume depth, I should say.
Right. I mean, the positives for something like Ethereum Classic is it kind of already has a bunch of liquidation avenues, right? So
Right.
it's going to be integrated into a ton of different exchanges. It's really easy to use as far as from that perspective. What are your
Right.
thoughts on the concept of GPU miners, or just miners in general, influencing the market and the success of coins? That's
So
one thing I look at with Ethereum, right? Moving to proof of
right.
stake.
So I think of mining. The reason proof of work mining works so well is that we see this play out in so many other avenues. We see these same mechanics play out in so many other avenues. So if you're an RPG fan, World of Warcraft or whatever, you've got your faucets and your sinks. So faucets are like mining or doing things to generate coins. In this case, proof of work. Or sorry, the blockchain, which is actually issuing coins. And then you need to have a sink. You need to have somewhere for that. You need to have an economic sink for your token to have value. In this case, that's proof of work mining. In proof of stake and other mechanisms, you just run that sink kind of goes away, because in proof of stake you aren't actually burning anything. Those coins are just locked up, and they could eventually be brought back into the ecosystem, which removes the scarcity, the scarcity and what actually provides value to the coin. So, and I just think that proof of work as a whole just has the proper incentives all the way around for producing value. And I think that we see that with Bitcoin at the pinnacle, right? Bitcoin is the pinnacle of proof of work, also the pinnacle of crypto as a whole. And I think we're going to continue to see that play out for all coins, where the majority of the value is going to be centralized into proof of work coins, just because of the inherent incentive, the proper incentivization model built into proof of work through the laws of physics.
Do you think that there's potential that if and when Ethereum moves to proof of stake, that they lose value to a certain extent because of the loss of the miners generating those additional coins?
I think I certainly do, and I also think it brings into question a lot of a lot of the robustness of the chain that exists today. You can look to Solana, like they have a decentralized system, but that system was down for something like 72 hours. Could you imagine what would have happened to Ethereum if what would have happened to Ethereum if that had been the case? Uniswap is down. Effectively, every DeFi protocol is down. All NFTs stop minting. All NFTs are effectively frozen for multiple days. That would be just a catastrophic event for an ecosystem as robust as Ethereum. And I just see that being a very big risk of moving to that sort of consensus algorithm.
I wasn't fully aware of the actual reasoning behind the downtime for Solana in particular. You're
Yeah,
saying, from what I understand, that was directly related to the consensus mechanism being proof of stake?
I It was, and I don't know exactly what caused the outage at the consensus level. It was a sync issue between the validator nodes, and but they were but the reason that the reason that's a problem is because they couldn't add new blocks to the chain, right? So regardless of what the method was, whether they just couldn't come to a consensus on what the next block would be. In proof of work, those rules are very, very simple.
Right.
If you produce a block that meets the network target, that's the next block, and then every other node in the world that is able to see that block adds it to its chain. The reason this is so simple is because you don't really have to add a lot of rules or tricks or gimmicks like sharding, and all of those things are going to become logistical nightmares which produce issues in the code. There will probably be bugs in the code that result in downtime like this. One of the reasons Ethereum was originally moved, or the merge was moved previously, was because of a timing issue. So the nodes couldn't reach a consensus on what the network time was, and so that caused the chain to freeze. This was on the testnet. This wasn't on the mainnet, but that obviously produces a lot of skepticism about the readiness of the project to start the merge. So I just think that by nature, proof of stake and that consensus mechanism just introduces so many other places where things can go wrong. It reduces the simplicity, and then also the incentivization model is somewhat broken, in my opinion, as well.
Perfect. So as a partner with Hut 8, it's pretty clear that Hut 8's definitely heavily leveraged into proof of work mining, specifically
Right.
with Ethereum, meaning that probably bleeds over into similar goals for Luxor, especially with standing up the
Right.
Ethereum mining pool. What are your plans in the future for? Are there how's this? Are there plans to essentially try to petition the Ethereum Foundation, et
Yeah.
cetera, to remain proof of work? What is the proposal details? Can you give us an update on all of that?
Yes. So we haven't worked out all of the details of what that proposal is going to look like. And just taking one step back, I don't think it's actually Hut 8 in Luxor didn't come together to form a proof of work coalition. We were both proof of work advocates prior and
Right.
realized, well, we're working in the same space, so let's work together here. So we're putting together a cogent plan for why Ethereum should stay proof of work, why we think that's a good idea, and what the steps would be for them to continue down that path. That plan is still in progress now. We don't have all of the details of that and how we want to move forward with it. And it's just something we're going to continue to be advocates. We're going to apply pressure where we can to try to get the motion in the right direction that we believe is the correct path for this coin. And that's really that's really where we're at in the life cycle of the advocacy group. We haven't made any formal petition, but that should be something we'll put together here soon.
Are there additional partners outside of you and Hut 8 that are joining this advocacy group? And can you speak to who they are or may be in the future?
Certainly, there's going to be folks that are interested in joining. Or joining this effort. We'll talk. We'll be pushing forward with our other partners. I know that Hive is very much involved with Luxor. It's one of our closest partners in the
Mm-hmm.
space as well. Will most likely be bringing them along, and then trying to find anybody else that's interested in reaching out and trying to bridge the gap that we think exists here in the current path forward.
Got you. And do you think that the current sharding system could participate with, of course, a proof of work consensus mechanism?
That's a really good question. I think that's a highly technical question, and I may not be the person to answer it. I do think that by changing the definitions of the execution layer and the consensus layer, by the Ethereum
Right.
org, I believe they are trying to position for that. Though I'm uncertain if that is technically possible. So I have to defer and say that I don't know the answer to that question in this case.
Right. And that name changing that you're referencing, I did review it on the Crypto Mining Morning show that I do, and it was a little confusing because it does feel like I'm not sure what they're stepping back on. It feels like more they're stepping back on the actual full deployment of ETH 2.0,
Right.
and then but still pushing forward on proof of stake. It seems like all the good stuff that comes after the merge that everybody
Right.
wants is getting delayed, and the merge isn't getting delayed. That's how I read it and felt about it.
So
Um,
it's Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I think that's the messaging that they wanted. But if I was kind of reading between the lines, it seems like that may be, it gives them the ability, at least. But so breaking up the execution layer, what the execution layer is that's like the EVM, the thing that runs all of your, all your smart contracts and mints your NFTs and, runs Uniswap and SushiSwap and all of those. Um, they're breaking up that part of the tech stack from the consensus layer, which is everybody agreeing, like, okay, this is what happened in the last block, this is what happened in this block, next, etc. Which can technically, conceivably, conceptually, those things should be able to be broken apart, right? The consensus layer should be able to operate separate from the execution layer. Now, whether that is properly decoupled and able to even function is up to I'm not certain if that's true or not, if that's possible or not.
right. Cool. So I think that wraps up pretty much all the questions I actually had for today. We kind of blew through them. Do you have any other thoughts or comments that you wanted to discuss?
I think the advocacy group it does need to be more fully fleshed out. I think that's something that we are working on. We're going to continue to produce articles and we're going to continue to produce content around proof of work, why it's elegant, why we think it's a really good thing. And I would like to maybe touch a little bit on why we think proof of work is not a bad thing. I know a lot of people say that it's boiling the oceans, we're using up all the world's energy, etc. But I do think that the incentive model of proof of work is very sound. And ideally, long term, what ends up happening is these proof of work miners end up going towards the cheapest cost of power, right? That's really the driver for proof of
It
work mining.
drives technology too. And
100.
that's so what you're looking at, especially with like the announcement of Intel doing low voltage ASIC miners. What we're talking about is an incentive to drive technology forward that is unparalleled in its profitability, which means
Right.
it actually will influence lower power consumption across the board for all silicon at the end of the day. So
Agreed.
it's a net positive there.
Exactly. And that's what, I just think there's so many ways that this produces better outcomes than, and I think that if we start researching green tech, some of the smartest minds in proof of work mining right now are thinking about how can I produce Bitcoin without producing carbon? Or how can I produce Bitcoin without producing bad emissions into the environment or in some way harming the environment? Those just so happen to be some of the cheapest ways to produce Bitcoin as well, which is really, really exciting. The problem right now is that it's only expensive. It's expensive to get started, but once it's running, it's very cheap. So now the limiting factor is the upfront, we call the CapEx, capital expenditure. If we can reduce that upfront expense, which people are working on, then we have now produced a way to generate green energy, which isn't just Bitcoin, which wouldn't be just constrained to Bitcoin. We could use that to proliferate green energy around the world, which I think, in my opinion, should be one of the goals of humanity. I think we should be using more energy. I don't think that we should be curtailing energy use. I think anybody that asks another person to reduce their energy usage is asking them to reduce their quality of life. And I think that it also is very much I think it's very much egalitarian, or it's non-egalitarian, where countries that are in development, like India, places that are rapidly developing, need to use a lot of energy to do so. And I think that if we can produce technology that allows them to really, really use a lot of energy without infecting the environment, I think we're going to improve the human condition around the world. And that's why I believe so strongly in proof of work mining, is because it provides at the very base that incentive to do so.
Right. And I think we're in agreement there. I think the only place where I disagree with you today is specifically the potential for the advocacy group to make any sort of change in the mind of the Ethereum devs.
Yeah, that's we realize it's a very uphill battle. There's been people before us that have tried to make this, have tried to make this push. Some of the other big Chinese pools have tried to make this push. We're going to do it. We're going to do our best. We just view that it's part of our duty as sovereign individuals to go out and try to make our best attempts at this. But you're probably right. It may fall on deaf ears. But I would like to say that we tried and failed rather than not try at all.
I understand. Just looking at the history of it, I was definitely a big part in the anti-EIP 1559 push. Probably some of the most views I've had, definitely some of the biggest pushes that we've had. And there was a ton of pools early on that were against it, vocally against it and everything, and everybody just folded and the devs didn't care, and then it just got pushed through. And the worst part about that is that it's completely ignored that everything that we called out would be a problem ended up being a problem, and like the fees are still high. It didn't really correct for price. It didn't do what it was supposed to do. So because of that disappointment, maybe I'm a little jaded, especially from this perspective of having any chance of them listening to anybody, no matter how large they are. When you're talking about the amount of investment the Ethereum Foundation itself has within staking too, that's something to take into account. I think it's going to be very 100%. Difficult, but I definitely want to keep up to date with you, and definitely let me know when you guys are going to be working on the petition, when the details are flushed out, and I will get that out to my audience so that everybody is aware and up to date with what you guys are doing there. So
really would love to definitely stay in touch. I was just looking at some of the blocks we've mined recently. There was a block, 2 days ago that had 21 ETH burned and 14 ETH in bonus reward, in tip reward. So that must have been obviously a very profitable block for us and I guess our miners. So we pay out MEV to our miners. So that extra reward was paid out to miners, and they had a very lucky day that day. And just looking at this, you're 100% right. Basically everything that was slated to go wrong with EIP 1559 has gone wrong and is continuing to be a burden to the network. So I don't think it was really a success, and that's something we can point to when we start making our argument, or we start making our pitch, that this is something that they should really take seriously and really consider. We should look to point to some of those past events that we think could have been mitigated.
And if you want more technical details, I'd definitely recommend reaching out to Bitsby Tripping Carter over there. He's really good at going through a lot of this stuff, and he could probably help you guys out. So shameless Bitsby Tripping plug, I guess, for the OG. And then thanks once again for joining us. Where can people find you? That sort of thing to wrap this up.
So you can find us at luxor.tech, the website. I'm on Twitter at @hash_bender. We've got a Discord, we've got a Telegram. You can find all that stuff once you go to the website. It's all at the bottom there. Really appreciate you having me on to come chat about this stuff. I think this is one of the more, I'm really excited about this stuff and love chatting about it. So happy to come on anytime and discuss, whatever you find interesting in the world of mining. And hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Perfect. Thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to hit up the description for all the links, relevant links, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to hit the subscribe button for more, or check out this playlist for more crypto content related topics.